When people talk about AI, they usually mean chatbots and prompts. But the real AI is invisible, happening behind the scenes inside companies of all sizes. These companies are already deciding who gets ahead and who stays behind. In this episode, I'll show you how companies actually use AI in the real world and how understanding that can change the way you plan your next career move. So let's get into it. Throughout much of history, human work has been straightforward. A carpenter first designed the chair and then built the chair. Then came industrialization and factories showed up. Humans still designed the chair, but machines cut the wood and assembled the chair. Then computers showed up. As a result, humans became much better and faster in designing by using software. Next came the internet, which resulted in a massive global network of thinking minds. But even with computers and internet, humans were still responsible for thinking and decision making. Now enter AI. This time, machines don't just build chairs, they also take over the design and, more importantly, the thinking part from the workers. And that's where things start to get even more interesting for you as an employee and for the company you work for. Okay, so let me just show you what I'm talking about with a real example. Let's say a hailstorm rips through your neighborhood last night and your roof is destroyed. Or maybe a pipe burst in your basement and suddenly you're dealing with a flood. So you do what anyone would do. You file an insurance claim. From the moment you file a claim to the moment you receive payment for repairs, your insurance company runs a well-oiled claim handling process. That process brings food on the table for at least 6 employees of the insurance company. First, you got the claims handler. They collect your accident details, policy information, and open up a claim in the system. Then, the claims adjuster steps in. They review everything and schedule inspections. Then there is the field inspector. This person literally drives to your house and walks around with a camera, documents every inch of the damage. Meanwhile, there is a fraud analyst somewhere in the office manually combing through the claims looking for anything suspicious. The adjuster comes back, estimates repair cost based on their experience, pricing guides, past cases. It's part art and part science. Then a supervisor reviews the whole thing and makes the final call, approve or reject. And finally, the payment processor sends you the check and closes everything out. But here's the thing, and this is what nobody's really talking about. Companies right now, as we speak, are building AI agents that can do all of this. But wait, what the heck is an AI agent? Now, I could get all technical here and tell you that an AI agent is a specialized software that uses large language models and APIs to exchange data with the external world. But that doesn't give you the whole picture. So let me give you a different way to think about this. Imagine an alien. This alien kind of looks like a human, but not quite. It's got some of our senses, some of our abilities, but not all of them. It has vision, which means it can read Word documents, scan through spreadsheets, look at pictures, and actually understand what it is seeing. It has hearing, so it can listen to audio, understand what people are saying. It has hands, digital hands, that can type up documents, create images, even generate videos. And lastly, it has a brain that can think, memorize information, compare different options, and yes, make tough decisions on its own. An AI agent is basically that weird looking but incredibly smart alien. And companies are now giving these aliens jobs. Now let's get back to the insurance claim example. With AI agents right in the middle of claim processing, when an accident happens today, the workflow looks completely different. You're standing in your flooded basement, you pull out your phone, snap a few photos of the damage, and upload them through an app. But on the other side, here is what's happening. The AI agent receives your photos. It looks at them, actually analyzes the damage. It pulls up your policy, reads through it. It checks your entire claim history in seconds. Then it estimates repair costs by comparing your specific case to thousands, sometimes millions of similar cases in its database. And here is what's wild. It's also reaching out in real time to suppliers, pulling the latest pricing data for the exact parts needed to fix your roof or your car. If everything checks out, the AI approves the claim and sends you the money. Done. Most claims never touch a human anymore. A human only steps in when something doesn't look right. Maybe the photos look suspicious, maybe the claim amount seems too high, or maybe, and this is interesting, the AI itself isn't confident about its own decision, so it flags the case for human review. But that's an exception now, not the rule. So if an AI agent can do all of that, what happens to those 6 people? The ones who were literally feeding their families because of this process. What are they supposed to do now? And here's the thing. This question isn't just freaking out people in insurance, it's worrying everybody across every industry. But why? To answer this, I need to show you a few work patterns that are hidden inside the insurance claim example we just saw. And once you see them, you can't unsee them. These same patterns show up everywhere. HR, finance, healthcare, marketing, product development, literally everywhere. And here is what I want you to do as we go through these. Ask yourself where your job fits, because this is going to matter for your career planning later in this video. All right, let's break this down. Let's start with work pattern number 1, the C. This is the part where you notice something has happened and you handle it. For example, an HR person sees a new batch of resumes hit the system. A warehouse worker sees an order come in. Maybe it's Labubu dolls that need to go to Huntsville, Alabama before Christmas. A loan officer at Wells Fargo opens her inbox and sees a new loan application. Or a marketing analyst gets the latest monthly website traffic data. You see something? You acknowledge it. Now let's switch to work pattern number 2, the score. This is where you analyze what you just saw and rank it by importance, risk, urgency, or value. That same HR person now sorts resumes into strong, average, and weak. The loan officer looks at an application and decides, is this person low risk or high risk? The marketing analyst reviews the traffic numbers and determines, is our performance good or bad? Now on to the work pattern number 3, the decide. This is where you apply policy, rules, or judgment to determine what happens next. For example, the loan officer approves the application or denies it. The HR manager decides, does this candidate move to interviews or not? The marketing manager decides whether to scale or kill a campaign. The next work pattern in the list is pattern number 4. This is where the work gets handed off to the right person, team, or system. For example, a claim gets routed to fraud review or to a payment processing. A resume gets sent to the hiring manager. A software bug gets assigned to an engineer. Work pattern number 5, the watch. This is the ongoing monitoring, keeping an eye on things after the action has started. For example, a fraud analyst watches for unusual claim patterns over time. Finance team monitors loans for signs of default. A stock trader keeps constant tabs on market prices. And the last work pattern is the do. This is the actual execution of a specific task. An accountant processes a payment and sends the bank transfer. A warehouse worker at Walmart boxes up your order and ships it out. A loan officer drafts and sends a rejection letter. A software engineer pushes a new version of the app to the App Store. If you actually look around at your workplace, you will start seeing these patterns everywhere. And it didn't take long for companies to figure out that AI agents already are proficient in handling all work patterns. So if your current job fits into one of these categories, and let's be honest, most jobs do, you might be feeling a little threatened right now. And I get it. It's natural. But here is what I want you to know. There is hope. There is actually a clear path forward for you to grow in your career, even with AI agents working right next to you. I'm going to show you that path. But first, we need to talk about what these AI agents actually are under the hood, because they're not magic. And once you understand how they work, you can actually use them to your own advantage. So let's pop the hood and look inside. At its core, an AI agent is just a few simple parts working together. First, it has inputs. It can read documents, spreadsheets, images, audio files. Basically anything your job already deals with on a daily basis. Second, it has a thinking engine. That is the part that reasons and analyzes. And here is what's interesting. This thinking engine is built from the same large language models that power ChatGPT or Claude. All those chatbots you have already been using. It compares options, estimates risk, breaks problems into steps, and decides what should happen next. Basically the same mental work humans used to do in their heads. Third, it has memory. It remembers what just happened, past decisions, instructions, company knowledge. It's building context over time. Fourth, rules and guardrails. Companies tell the AI agent what it is allowed to do, where the limits are, and what it must stop, and when it should involve a human. Fifth, and this is the part most people completely miss. This is where AI stops being a chatbot giving you advice and starts actually doing real work. AI agents connect to real software through tools and APIs, which just means they can send emails, update records, trigger payments, schedule work, pull live data from other systems. Sixth, it has a feedback loop. After it reacts, it watches what happens. If something breaks, if anything looks unusual, it will course correct by itself. And here is the final piece. Agents don't work alone. In real companies, there are multiple agents running at the same time. So at this point, a lot of you are probably thinking, okay, AI agents are taking over. I get it. But what am I supposed to do about it? Grab a notebook. I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step plan. Step 1. Map your job to the 6 work patterns we just saw. For one normal week at work, track how you spend your time across these 6 patterns we just talked about. Write down your time spent on seeing, scoring, deciding, routing, watching, and executing. Step 2. Identify which work pattern AI is absorbing first at your company. If you feel lost, here are some real examples to get you oriented. In 2023, Lemonade Insurance announced that they now process claims in 2 seconds and handle 30 to 40% of claims automatically. What you want to do is to ask around in your company if there is an AI project that will make existing processes faster. In Feb 2024, Klarna built AI assistants to handle customer services chats. But there's a twist in the story though. Klarna reversed course in 2025 and is now hiring human customer service agents again, admitting that AI-only strategy went too far. These examples should help you in thinking how your company might deploy AI agents. Now on to step 3. Pivot towards decision ownership. That means you need to move up the value chain. Let me give you an example. At United Healthcare Group, they're using AI to process prior authorization requests. Those annoying hoops doctors have to go through to get treatments approved for patients. The AI can handle straightforward cases instantly. But what happens when patient's case is complex? When a patient has multiple conditions, when the treatment is experimental or high risk, that's when a human medical reviewer steps in. But here is the key. That reviewer isn't just checking boxes. They are making judgment calls that AI can't make. Be that person. Step 4. And this is the most important one. Learn to design the workflow. Stop thinking of yourself as a worker in the system. Instead, start planning for yourself as the designer of the system. Question the workflow itself. Ask, why do we do it in this way? What could we eliminate? What should we automate? What absolutely needs a human? Now, let me explain this with an example. A top wealth management firm rolled out an AI assistant to its 10,000 financial advisors. On surface, this may seem like a pure AI work done by engineers, but in reality, company-appointed advisors, people who actually understand wealth management, and they design how the AI should work. Those designers aren't worried about AI taking their jobs. Remember, these are not the AI specialists or engineers. These are the folks who took the time to understand the core of the business. They are the ones controlling how AI gets used. That's the position you want to be in. 100 years ago, most people worked in agriculture. Then tractors came along. Did farming disappear? No. Did farming jobs disappear? Yes. But the people who thrived weren't the ones who tried to compete with the machines at fields. They were the ones who learned how to operate the machines, maintain them, design better farming systems, decide what to plant and when. The same thing is happening now with AI. The question isn't whether AI is coming for knowledge work. The question is, are you going to be part of the workflow that gets automated, or are you going to be the person designing and controlling that workflow? And that's the choice. And you need to make that choice now.